Hey, let's talk again about the mistakes when investing in apartments. I want to go over these mistakes so you don't make them. And by the way, I have made many, did I say many mistakes investing in real estate. The one mistake I have not made, however, is losing money. Knock on glass. 25 years, over $700 million in property today, probably over, $1.1, $1.2 billion in transactions. I have never lost money on an apartment deal. Thank you. Appreciate it. But I have made many mistakes. Okay, now my first deal, by the way, remember my first deal? That wasn't an apartment deal. That was a rental property, single family. And it was a mistake because it was single family, because I relied on one tenant, one door. If it has one door, live there. Okay, don't make it an investment property. Remember that? That one door will kill you. This is based right off the 10X rule. I didn't know that when I was 28 years old when I bought this. Okay, I'm like, I thought I was doing real estate because everybody around me was doing real estate like that. Because everybody around me was saying, you gotta crawl before you walk and all that stuff. Look, I barely broke even on that deal, and I only broke even because I didn't account for my time to manage, buy it, check it out, take the phone calls, everything that I had to do. By the way, I didn't even count, I wonder how many sales I lost running from my main job back to that one single-family residential property that I barely got out of. Okay, if I included all my time and energy and worry and stress, this deal was a massive loser. And by the way, everybody that invests in real estate, they never count their time. It's so dumb. They don't count their time, and the other thing they don't count is their time away from their kids and their family. The other thing they don't count is the freaking stress. Okay? Every deal I have ever done, I experienced some level of stress and anxiety, whether I was selling the deal, buying the deal, or looking for the deal. Dude, this is a work. Okay? Now, the difference is the upside can be so explosive, it's worth the anxiety for me. Okay, now here's a list of mistakes so you don't have to make these. And by the way, the less you know, the more anxiety you're going to experience. Here's a list of mistakes that I want you to avoid. Maybe have a list of them. Maybe have them on your refrigerator. Keep them on your computer. And I tried to write these or share these or go over these in the order of importance. Okay, I shared them with you when I was Turks and Caicos. I want to share them with you again. I've shared them in the book. I want to keep impressing to you, because if you don't have this on top of mind, look, if you can avoid the potholes, you'll get home safely. If you can avoid the mistakes in investing in apartments, I guarantee you, you're going to make money. There I go, using a G word again. Okay? Because I can make it a lot more, right? Okay. Number one, not investing will be your single biggest mistake. Talk to me in 10 years. Talk to me in 20 years. Don't talk to me next month. Talk to me in 30 years. And say, dude, if I would have done, I already have people coming up to me. Man, I started buying apartments like you said 3 years ago, changed my life. Not investing in this asset class, as I've described it, either you do it on your own or you do it with somebody like me that knows what they're doing, and you take big positions. Not investing in this asset class. By the way, a big position is whatever you can do. I'll tell you right now, if I were you right now, knowing what I know, okay, I would not have any equity in a home. I would have all the equity invested either with a partner or yourself in apartments. I would rent where I live. Listen to what I'm telling you. I would sell my house, grab the equity, and use it all in apartments. Okay? I would buy the biggest deals I possibly could. I would borrow money to do it. Okay? I would work extra hard to make sure I have extra money to fund deals. And I would do that. That's what I've done for 25 years. Okay, while I was working my main jobs, I was basically pushing hard on my main job to get a little extra money so I could make this other job called real estate investing long term. While it might seem difficult right now due to limited funds, maybe you don't have any money, you don't have any free money, maybe you have a credit problem, maybe you don't have any experience, you don't have any confidence, you're not sure of what you're doing. You owe it to yourself and your family to figure this out. Whether you buy deals on your own again or with me or somebody like me, get involved in this game. Keep reading, keep studying, keep shopping deals until you know what you're doing and you can pull the trigger. When done right, apartments can produce passive income for generations. We're talking about legacy wealth. Passive income forever, okay? Somebody said once the true definition of wealth is that you can have your living standards that you desire paid for without going to work. Apartments can provide passive income for generations, long past when you're dead. Mind-boggling returns without the risk of other investments. Okay, number 2 mistake. If you buy too small, you will regret it. Anything under 16 units should be a red flag, okay? Anything under 16 units will not produce enough free cash to warrant doing the deal. 2s, 4s, 6s, and 8s are tempting in the beginning. You know why? Easy to get a loan, little money down, they're available everywhere, but remember, if they're easy to buy, they're hard to get rid of. 2 units, 4 units, 6 units. It's like that person that you went home with. You know, they went easily, and the next morning you couldn't get them out of your house. You got to chew your arm off. You're like, oh, I got him in the car. I got her in the car. She came home with me. Easy to get them home, hard to get them out of the house in the morning. 2 units, 4 units, real hard. 6 units and 8 units, even more difficult, okay? There's not enough scale there to make sense of the deal unless you're buying merely to flip. So if you're going to do the 2s and the 4s and the 6s and 8s, do them for a shorter period of time. Think this, smaller, shorter, okay? Smaller deals, shorter period of time I'm going to be in. It's going to be in and out. Let's get out, okay? And by the way, you could use the small deals to build your cash up. And remember that when you're doing this, you're not investing. Don't call this real estate investing. Call it speculating. Because you got to time everything right. You got to pick the right property. Find a buyer. Number 3, single family home rentals. Okay, this is just dumb. You're going from 2 units, 4 units, 6 units, 8 units to 1 unit. Okay, I mean, look, if 4 units is not going to work, how's 1 going to work? It's just easy. Most people that do the single family home rental do it because they can get a no money down deal loan or 2 to 3% no money down, right? I mean, it's like 3% on $400,000. I put $12,000 down and I own the house, and I get to call it mine. Okay. Until I rent it to somebody else. Then it's mine and I rent it to Jane. And Jane moves out, it's back to being mine again and I got to pay for it, okay? I got to pay everything, by the way. It doesn't work. Do the math any way you want and it doesn't work. Never invest in one door. If you're taking notes, never invest in one door should become your mantra. As an investor and as a person that lives in a house, never invest money in one door. Live where there is one door and own where there are many. A single-family home is a bad investment for the most part. It's proven to be for the last 30 years. My entire life, entire time I've been alive. For 6 decades, the average home in America is only inflated with inflation going up about 1% a year. Millions of people, by the way, found themselves in 2008 losing homes and underwater for years. Equity trapped and gone. Equity should have been working. By the way, my equity was working in 2008, 2009, and 2010. It was paying me cash flow. Even though the value of the property went down, the equity did not shrink. Single-family homes are terrible investments for rental income, but again, they're easy to purchase, easy to get into, easy to get a loan. Even if you got bad credit, almost anybody can get a loan on a single-family home. You know why? Because they want to make you a slave. Number 4, using too much debt. Using too much debt will result in the property being unable to service the debt at some point in the economic cycle. Remember, we're talking 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Somewhere in that cycle, could be the next 2 or 3 years. If you have too much debt way up here, you're not going to be able to fund the property. If you buy it with 95% financing, even if they allow you to do that, or 97% financing, that means other people can also buy that property at 97 or 95% financing. What does it mean? If everybody in your neighborhood can get 97% financing, that means this ass that just got this asset and the other freaking numbnuts on your street also could do it. That means there's no barriers to entry. If there's no barriers to entry, the fewer the barriers to purchasing, the less valuable property will be in the future. If everybody can do this, so what? I watched so many people, so many real estate people lose everything in 2008 because they over-leveraged and they over-speculated. I only use 50 to 75% debt on my deals. I showed you some deals earlier. I'm financing a deal right now. It's a $92 million deal. I'm financing $60.250 million. I'm putting 36% down to buy the deal. If a deal's $50 million, I'm going to expect to put down as much as $25 million. And ask myself, do I still like it? Do I like it with 50% down or 60% down? 30% or 40% down? That kind of commitment, turning over that kind of dough, means you really in love. Okay? Putting down this much money to buy something means you're not sure. I put my money where my mouth is. I put my money where my address is. Watch what I'm buying. Look at the property that I'm buying right now. I bought it with my money, okay? I bought this property right here with my money. $10 million it cost to buy this one right here. $32 million deal. I signed on the loan for the other $22 million. What does that tell you about what I think about that property? I believe in it. Now, if you go out and buy stuff and it takes $200 to put down on it, okay, you're like, I got a good deal. I put $200 down. You don't even believe in it. Okay? See, the kind of commitment to a capital investment excludes a lot of buyers. And when it excludes a lot of buyers, by the way, it builds in a natural organic barrier to entry. This is what the big guys know that you don't. This is why the little guy gets the scraps and the leftovers, and the big guys are like, oh man, only a few people can build that deal. That's why, Park Avenue and what's the other blue spot on Monopoly? Park Place and Broadway, baby. That's why they work. Why? Because there's only two of them. They're blue. It's a royal blue, and they got to pay a lot of rent to be there. Simple economics, supply and demand. I own something most people cannot even get a loan on, which makes this asset in the future. Listen to what I'm telling you right now. Like, if you need another reason to buy this asset, I would literally, everybody's like, I'm willing to do a third job to make this happen. Good. Then go raise the money and make it happen. Right? Go raise the money and raise $15 million so you can buy the big monster. Because in the next 5 to 10 or 15 years, that property is very difficult to build, and how many people can actually fund it? Now, that being said, too much money down can mean the product is overpriced. Okay? So if you start having a seller say you're going to have to put 50% down on this product, you got to know that product, that apartment deal is probably overpriced. Doesn't mean it's not worth it, though, if you got a long-term vision. At Cardone Capital, we've created relationships with the largest lenders in the world. We receive debt terms not available to 99% of the public. So when it comes to debt, know what you're doing when picking your debt partner, your bank, your Fannie, your Freddie, your TH, your PNC. Lots of lenders, New York Life, MetLife, Allstate, State Farm. You know those guys? Do you know insurance companies lend money for apartments? They won't even lend you money to buy a car. Okay? By the way, you need a number of different lenders to support the different types of asset classes and the different cycles and the different cities. A, B, C could be a different lender. Nashville, Orlando, Tampa, Miami, San Francisco, Sacramento could be different lender groups. Never rely on one lender. Never rely on one lender. Never load up and let one bank, one lender, or one insurance company be your guy or gal. The debt is critical to your investing, and developing many relationships with many lenders will be vital to you not making mistakes. I can't tell you how many times the seller has asked me, Grant, have you ever assumed a Fannie Mae loan? Grant, have you ever assumed a Freddie Mac? This is the seller questioning my ability to get a loan. Have you ever assumed a HUD loan? Have you ever assumed with TH? Have you ever assumed with PNC? Have you ever assumed with Allstate, State Farm, New York Life, MetLife? Have you ever done a deal with the boys at Camden or Alliance? You get it? I'm overwhelming you with names. You need to know them all. The seller wants to know if you can get financing. If you can't get financing, your offer doesn't matter. Okay? Even if your equity's ready. Number 5. Only buying on price and cap rate is a mistake. If you only buy deals based on the lowest price and the highest cap rates, remember those things move like this. The lower the price, the higher the cap rate. Okay? They move away from one another. If you only buy deals based on the lowest price and the highest cap rates, you will never get great deals. The great deals always come at a premium, higher price, and a lower cap rate. As crazy as it may seem, One of the biggest mistakes that I made was I went for cash flow and I should have been buying a lower cap rate. Yeah, I said it. I should have been buying the lower cap rate deals. They would have made me more money on the way out. As crazy as that seems, my best deals have been the ones I paid for. And my biggest mistakes once I bought a deal was not buying more deals with lower cap rates and higher price. The old adage, buy low and sell high, yeah, it's true. It's true until it's not, okay? It might be true if you're at a flea market, but it's not true when you're buying 300 units. I've made my best deals and my best returns again on buying high and selling higher. The lowest price in apartments is not an indication of a great deal. It's an indication that something's wrong. I can buy a property at cheaper prices and higher cap rates in suburban Detroit than I can the Galleria of Houston. Why? Because I got the Houston Galleria with 11 or 12 million people growing all the time. Not that they're all at the Galleria, but in the Houston market. And I got Detroit that's getting smaller and smaller. I once bought a deal in Austin, Texas. I paid the asking price. I didn't negotiate a penny off the deal. I closed it quickly. I said, how much do they want? He said, they want $12 million. 1 penny less than that and they won't take it. I said, I'll give you 12, dude, and I'll take you to dinner. Okay, what else you need? I laid down for the deal because I knew it was a steal. Because I had a 3, 4, 5 year horizon. I knew the area. I knew what the jobs were. I knew what the market was. I knew I couldn't build that property for $12 million. Probably cost $25 million to build a similar property in the same neighborhood. I knew when I bought it that someone else would pay me more in the future. By the way, the future wasn't long, far in ahead, far out into the future. The future was not far into the future. The future was like 4 months away. 6 months later, I closed the deal for 115% return on my investment. My $4 million I put down, 12 minus 4 million turned into almost $6 million in 6 months. Like bang. Let me tell you something. I should have never sold that deal either. But the money was so quick, so fast. I mean, I literally didn't do anything there except close a deal, and I made $4 million some odd thousand. I knew there was a trend for tech to be moving to Austin. I just didn't know how long it would last. Again, I'm a coward. I made a mistake. I took a profit. But, hey, you know what they say? Pigs go to slaughter. Hey, you can't take that money away from me. I made that deal and took that $8 million and 1031 into another deal in Charlotte, North Carolina. Most people in Austin think I was stupid for selling that deal. Probably was, but I took that $4 million that I put down and the $4 million that I made threw $8 million into another deal back in Charlotte. Actually bought 2 different deals. $4 million of the money went into one deal in Charlotte and another $4 million went into another deal. That one deal in Charlotte made me another $14 million. Okay? Now I was stupid for selling that deal in Austin, wasn't I? Yeah, I was. What I should have done is raise some more money because I was out of money at the time. I should have raised some more money to buy the deal in Charlotte. Again, I made mistakes. I just miscalculated how good the Austin market would be. I bought the deal, closed on it, got great financing, spent $5,000 on that Austin deal, maybe $5,000, almost nothing. I basically resurfaced the parking lot. Some guy comes along and says, hey, I'll give you another $4 million. Ooh. I was also the top bidder and paid the highest price on another deal, a Florida portfolio about 5 years ago. This was the first purchase in the state. This was the first purchase I had ever made in the state of Florida, and no one knew me. So I had to pay more to get the deal. Actually didn't get the deal the first time. I came in second. The guy that came in first backed up. You know what I mean? He tried to retrade the seller. He went in and tried to get a little nibble. Got uncertain. Okay, it was a $58 million deal. He thought, okay, I'm going to try to get $500,000 off. Or he started dragging his feet. He started acting like he wasn't a buyer. And the broker who I stayed in touch with called me and said, you ready to go, dude? This guy's getting a little skeptical. I said, bro, as soon as I'm telling you, if you think I'm ready, I'll wire you some dough today, okay? And I was ready to move, okay? I'm impatient once I find a deal. I'm patient while I look, impatient when I find. There are 38 other bidders in that group. I knew I could pay more the next day and still do the deal. Why was I willing to pay the most? The amount of interest on the deal led me to believe that 3 years, 5 years, 8 years. You see, the people that are looking for 1,000-unit portfolios, just because they don't get it today doesn't mean they won't be a buyer 3 years from now. I paid $58 million for the portfolio. What does it matter if I overpaid by $100 or even $500,000? It's not even measurable. Okay? If you're going to be in a deal for 5 or 10 years, 500 grand doesn't change my opinion of the deal. Let me go to the magic board and show you what I mean. Okay, so look, I'm buying a $58 million deal. The guy calls me up and says, hey, you ready to go? I said, yeah. Do I need to pay more money? He's like, yeah, maybe another 200 grand. Maybe another 500 grand. Say, good. Hey, whatever, dude. 500 grand on top of $58 million. What's the damn difference? Well, Grant, man, that's half of 1%. I'm going to pay that for the loan. I'm probably going to pay that to the broker, or the seller is going to pay that to the broker. What does it matter? Okay, so now the deal's $58,500,000. How does that change the deal? Okay, so now watch what happens. Okay, I'm going to put $15 million down. That's what we put down on the deal. I finance $43,500,000, or I had to finance $43 million. Let me show you exactly what it changes. $43 million. You guys get cheap at the wrong time, okay? This is not, you're not at Toys R Us. You're not at Kmart. You're not at Kroger's. You're not buying groceries right here, okay? You're creating wealth here. You don't need to save a penny. Penny wise and dollar foolish. Or in this case, $500,000 wise and in this case, $100 million foolish, because that's what I ended up making on this deal. $4.3 million. How much money? $500,000 at an interest rate of 0.0385. That's what I financed that deal for. Cost me $19,250 a year. Divided by 12. This 500 grand that I paid extra cost me $1,604 per month. Okay, watch this. This thing right here has averaged 20% a year on the $15 million. Okay, I thought I was going to make 6 or 8%, and it did. The first year it made like 8%. Second year it made 12. Then all of a sudden the freaking rents exploded. The third year exploded, and my average return on this property. There's just one of them in here. In fact, if you go to the back of the program, you'll see some of the deals that we bought. Let me see if I can find this one deal. Give me 1 second. Don't even edit this, okay, Johnny? Not that. Ah, there it is. This deal right here. Where's my cash return? Cash return is 16% on the St. Lucie deal. No, this is one of my new deals. This is one of my newer deals. Let me go to this one. St. Lucie, my St. Lucie deals. Where's my St. Lucie? Oh, yeah, I can't even show you this. You're not going to even believe me. Okay? This thing's exploded to 62%. Last year I had a 62% return on my money. Okay? But it averaged 20% in the first 3 years. 20%, watch this. 20% on $15 million is $3 million worth of cash flow a year. I paid $1,604 a month extra on the 500 grand. It's not even measurable. So basically, I paid $18,000 to earn $3 million a year, and that was in the second or third year. The portfolio, we sold the portfolio. I'm sorry, we refinanced the portfolio right now for $100. That's happening this week. $108 million. Okay, I financed $43 million and $500,000. I win an extra 500 grand. I'm refinancing the portfolio. I owed, this was my debt, and I'm still on the property. I'm going to make $65 million because I was willing to pay an extra $1,600 a month. The people that are cheap when they buy deals don't understand apartments. Okay, I've earned 26% cash on cash. I think I could fire sell the portfolio for $150 million today. By the way, I guarantee you, one of the 38 guys that bid with me 5 years ago would probably try to line up and be a buyer today. It's not like there's a new universe of people that can pay $150 million for a piece of property. Talk about a good deal for the investors. My sister, one of the first investors at Cardone Capital, she's 70 years old, retired. She's made more money from this one investment than every job and every investment she ever made for the previous 60 years combined. You take all her jobs, all her income, all the money she made, all the money she spent, all the money she invested, all the money she's ever been paid by any job, including all the money she's ever spent. And I guarantee she made more money in this one deal. Every month for the last 5 years, my sister's received a check from her investment twice the size of any salary from any position she held as an executive assistant that she spent 4 years in college, becoming a cum de la, perfect grades, A+, valedictorian, or whatever it's called. This was a game changer for her and provided her with the opportunity and the assurance that she would never, by the way, have to work again or worry about money. She couldn't do this deal on her own. My twin brother who invested with me, he couldn't do this deal on his own. But she had also been a great investor along the way. She was positive. She was patient. She believed in what we were doing at Cardone Capital. She knew what I was doing. She didn't need to be at the property. So she didn't question when we made moves. Wherever you invest, whether you do this by yourself or you do it with someone else, you still need to know what you're doing. So even as an investor, even though you might be a passive investor, you need to know what your partner's doing. When you're buying deals no one else is competing on, you have to wonder, why am I the only person in the room? You know the old adage about the poker? You sit around, you got 5 or 6 guys playing poker, and you're like, you don't know who the sucker is? If you don't know who the sucker is, you're it. If no one else will eat the food, you might want to leave it alone. Okay? Why does no one else want that deal? Is everyone wrong but you? Oh, by the way, that could be the case. I bought deals when nobody else wanted to eat the deal. Nobody else wanted to buy the deal. Nobody else saw the value. So that could be the case. But if you've got a lot of interest in a deal, it means either the market's overheated or there's some value here. Maybe on those deals where nobody else is lined up, maybe you do see something that no one else can see. This has happened where I am the first one to see value in a market or in a location or an opportunity because I've been in that market so long or looking so much. I remember when I was in San Diego, some of my first deal, I was one of the first people in the San Diego market among all the real estate investors to see that there was an opportunity there that others didn't see. Oh, by the way, it's always the new person in the market that sees the opportunity. The people that live there can't see it because they've been living in it. Also, by the way, too much action. Too much action. On the flip side of this can be a warning. You probably heard me say, cranes in the air, beware. When the builders start building, oh, by the way, builders never know when to stop. When they start building all the new apartments in your market, you be smart to be cautious. Right now would be that time. Builders, for the most part, are not great investors. They're just great builders. They're terrible businessmen. Most of which at some point in the cycle go broke. Builders, love you guys. They tend to lose all their money they made in the last 2 deals they built. They made a bunch of money in the first 4 or 5 deals, and then they lose it all. The building that I live in, okay, the guy that built that, he's been there 6 or 7 years. All his profit is tied up in 2 units that he can't sell. Guess which ones they are? Top floor and the 3rd floor, okay? The beach penthouse and the sky-high penthouse. All his profit is stuck in those 2 deals. New apartments serve as competition for existing product. Remember that when you start seeing cranes in the air, new product serves as competition for existing. There is, however, a time in the market where the building will stop and will then stay dormant for too many years in the future because the builder's scared. He got whacked. Scared to come back now. One good whacking, scare a guy off. And they stay away for years to come. You'll see this in Houston, Dallas. Texas cities are they're notorious for overbuilding. They go into a big glut and then they quit building, okay? And down here, okay, all of a sudden they see, particularly in these big cities that have tremendous populations that explode over time, you'll see a shortage on the other side of this. That's one of the reasons I'm so excited about Houston at this time. They overbuilt. And the next response by builders and investors will be to pull away, and they'll wait until all the new apartments are absorbed. Absorbed means rented. I'll go there early. I'll go there back to that market early like I am now, find great opportunities, and I'll sit and wait for those investors to come back when they realize it's a great city, it's a great market, it's not going away, it's great jobs there, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, not enough new product. bam, rents explode. Okay, we're not quite there yet, but I am selective in Houston right now. Okay, builders will abandon the market and leave a drought or a shortage. Now, this takes patience, foresight, and the ability to move from market to market. So if you're starting on your own and you're like, Grant, you said know the market, and you're in Sacramento and you can only buy in Sacramento right now, sooner or later that market gets overheated. Okay, at some point, if your portfolio is going to grow, you're going to have to invest in other markets. That means you're going to have to travel. Okay, number 6, big mistake. Somebody told me about this today. Trying to buy a deal without a broker. Dumb nuts. Okay, not using a broker is a mistake. Now, it might work in single-family homes. It might work if you're going to call people cold and try to get the guy that owns the house for 30 years to provide you with financing, or he's going to give you an option to purchase. It's not going to work here, I'm telling you. Not using a broker on a 300-unit deal is going to be a mistake. Or even 80 units. Trying to buy the deal without a commercial broker is a pure rookie mistake, and it's really driven by, I'm going to save 2 points. The broker's your friend in the game, just like the bank is your friend here. Okay, I use brokers on every deal. I never buy a deal off market without a broker. I always have a broker represent me, and I prefer to use the listing broker only. So you brokers out there, you're like, hey, I got this off market deal. When you get the listing, send me the deal. And don't ask me to sign one of those CAs before you get the damn listing. Never sign a CA from a guy that's not the listing broker and has a listing, because they're going to hold you hostage for the next 6 months. Trust me, I made this mistake, okay? The broker should be your friend, and he should have a listing. Or you could use him to pursue an off-market deal, but you have the idea of that address, not him. And you know him, and you have a relationship with him. You trust him, okay? Don't take the stranger's phone call, the strange broker that says, I'm going to have you sign a CA. I know about this deal. Don't sign that deal. I recently bought a deal that was not on the market, referred to as off market, and I had a broker in another city, my friend Robert right here in Miami, represented me. He was my friend until this last deal. He's not happy with me this week. He was really happy with me then. But I bought this deal, found this deal, okay, it was a 500-unit complex in Houston, Texas, and I had a guy in Miami represent me. Why? Why would I do that? Makes no sense, right? Because the guy in Miami knows the guy in California that disposes of the asset in Houston. By the way, I paid the broker in Miami to contact the guy in San Diego to sell me the deal in Houston, and paid the guy in Miami $250,000 just to hold the deal together. Remember, $250,000 on a $60 million deal ain't going to change much, but it will get a deal done. Because I need a buffer. You need a buffer between you and the seller in your deals. You need the deal. I want the deal. I want to buy the deal. I assumed a loan of $63 million on a 500-unit deal in the heart of one of America's great cities. 60 yards from Amazon's office. Whole Foods, right around the block. Starbucks is walking distance, $800,000 townhomes across the street in a neighborhood of $2 million to $4 million homes, where the average tenant is professional and makes 5 times what the rent is. You willing to pay $250 for that? Because I am. I think my partners and I will hold this asset probably and sell it for double of what we paid down. Okay, I put $30 million down. I think we'll hold it and make $30 to $60 million on top of our capital. Would you pay $250,000 for that? Think big. Okay, you're in a big game with big players. If I can accomplish what I think I can accomplish on this Houston deal, I'm going to end up with a 400% return on this deal plus my cash flow. By the way, that includes my cash flow. I'm sorry. Okay. We could make $60 million on a project. I don't need to worry about $250,000 to a broker that helped me secure a deal. Pay your broker and know all the brokers and make friends with the brokers and know the different types of personalities of these brokers. Who is really, really honest? Who exaggerates, okay? Who's conservative? Who's more, you understand? Know the personalities. Number 7, you're not looking at enough deals. I look at 100 deals to buy 1 deal today, maybe 3 deals max out of 100 deals score. I got a closing ratio so low, if I was a salesperson, they'd fire me. That's right. I look at 100 deals to close 1, 2, maybe 3 deals. So unless you're smarter than I am, or you're luckier than I am, be prepared to look at a lot of deals. I have friends who are financially extremely successful. My friend Howard, Robert, Bobby, My brother, okay, these guys could buy their own deals. They have enough money. They understand apartments. They could get the loan, but they couldn't get the deals because they quickly realized they don't have time to run their business, their family, and find deals. Because they're successful in their other operations, their other successful businesses, and managing their families, look, to find deals takes time. You have to be in the market every day, looking at deals every day. By the way, you need to be in other markets comparing to your market, and sometimes it takes years before your market that you can look in is even ready to invest in. My friend Howard's in Los Angeles. It's impossible to buy anything right there right now. I mean, 30 years from now, it'll be a great investment. He'll wish he bought it, but he has to hold it, manage it, keep it. And by the way, that assumes he found a deal. I have bought and sold deals in 8 states now. And to buy deals just in my local market, just to get a deal under contract takes more energy, time, and resources than you will ever imagine. Just getting a broker to call you back, by the way, I mentioned earlier, is an art. To buy a deal outside your market, where you have no relationships, requires trips, hotels, nights away from home, appointments, planning, getting familiar with, getting lost. Man, I got to go to National and get a rental car. I got to find out where I'm going. I don't know where the streets are. I know nothing, right? So you don't have any confidence when you go to a new city. First time I went to Nashville, Charlotte, Austin, Miami, right here in Miami. First time I went to San Diego, I had no confidence about the market. The deals that we are closing now are monsters outside of where I live. But we have the time and the energy. I got a plane that can fly me over there and look at them. And by the way, if I buy in Houston, I've looked at 6,000 units before I close on the first deal. Interesting enough, the deal in Houston wasn't even on my list of things to look at. I had looked at 6,000 units, 6,000 without exaggeration, and stumbled across the property. But because I lived in Houston 25 years ago, I knew. Great location, great place. I could literally make up in my mind what I thought the rents were at that property, and I was within $50 because I'd been in that market before. And I looked at these other 6,000 units. And when you compare 25 years of research and looking at a lot of property with experience doing deals, you're like, that's going to be a good deal. Let's find out if I'm right. The one we stumbled upon, and I immediately knew, we'll buy that deal. My wife was with me. Ryan was with me. That deal is the deal we're going to take down. Now we need to find out who owns it, contact them, make a pitch, put it under contract. By the way, I wouldn't have found that jewel had I not been looking in a market that I didn't plan on buying in that soon. You understand what I'm saying? I'm looking in new markets all the time. So if you're going to be a player, it's going to take time, energy, and resources. My wealthy friends who partner with me on deals do so because they simply say to me, hey, I don't have time to look at deals. You're looking at 100 deals, Grant. It would take me 100 months to do the same thing. They can also do bigger deals with me than they could on their own. You know what I mean by that? Like that deal was $63 million worth of debt I had to assume. Even my friends that have a lot of money can't necessarily assume a loan with a lender without the experience. One of the reasons I bought my jet a few years ago was so I could fly into markets at a moment's notice and look at deals. Again, my formula requires me and will require you to use tremendous discipline and research. You should be looking at hundreds of deals before you close your first one. For that reason, other real estate professionals invest with us at Cardone Capital because of my beast-like 10X mentality. I mean, people do say, hey, the dude is a whack job, okay? Because I work hard. My social media presence hasn't hurt me in finding deals as well. If you didn't watch the 2017 World Series, you will notice that I was sitting on the front row, Game 7, right over the umpire's right shoulder. Yeah, that was me. Best seat in the house. Oh, yeah. The location matters in real estate. And in real estate and these deals, I needed the Houston brokers to know who I was. I wasn't doing it to show off. Hey, I got to tell you something. I wasn't even doing it because I love baseball, even though I do love baseball. But $126,000 for 2 tickets, that's a lot of money for 9 innings. Even when your team wins. The reason I did it is because I was on TV every pitch. I wasn't on TV for the whole world to see the millions of people. I only wanted to see 3 people to see me. 3 brokers in Houston, Texas. To see me rooting for them Astros every pitch. Go back and watch the 2017 World Series, and you'll see me back there giving signals. Come on, guys, let's go. Let's go, guys. 10X. Come on, 10X everything. Oh, by the way, after the Astros won the series, I got phone calls from all three of those brokers. You see, investing in real estate requires the same energy, creativity, tenacity that it would any other job. Dude, it's a full-time job. It takes money. Money's the easy part. It takes energy. That's the hard part. It takes effort. It takes patience. It takes relationship building. Anyone that tells you it doesn't, dude, they don't own the number of apartments that I own. Okay, number 8. I mentioned this early. Unable to move to other markets. I bought in 8 different markets. I know when I started, and by the way, I knew when I started I would not be able to continue to do so just in one market. I had a long horizon. Okay, this has been a career of investing. In the beginning, as a real estate investor, you should stay local, right there in your market. When I say local, I'm talking about right there in your neighborhood. Like, don't even worry about 5 miles away. Figure out the first 5,000 feet. But at some point, you're going to have to start looking at other markets. Okay? If where you live sucks, maybe the economy's terrible, or maybe it's already overbuilt, or maybe it's dying. There's parts of this country that are dying. People in Canada, for instance, okay? You guys don't even have the apartment stock that we talk about here. If you go to London, you go to Mexico, you go to Colombia, you go to Bogota, you can't find 300-unit apartment complexes. In most parts of the world, by the way, America is an anomaly, an aberration offering this investment. There's very little of this apartment stock. So if you live in a city where like they don't even trade this stuff, then you're going to have to look outside your city. Again, in European countries, they don't have this asset class to invest in the way we do in America. Remember, not everyone makes money in real estate because not all markets are good. If you had invested anywhere in Detroit in the last 20 years, outside of the previous 3, say since 2015, prior to that, from probably, 2000 to 2015, you lost your shirt, okay? You had dead money unless you were in downtown in the last couple of years where money recently started being invested, and that place still is up in the air as to whether it will work or not. Look, don't speculate with real estate. You don't need to. Invest in something that's going to make you money. I'm not a speculator. I'm a coward. I'm an investor. I want to make money. And that means at some point, I will have to, and you will have to move outside of where you live. You might even need to be willing to move your family and your kids and where they go to school, if you even have them in school, okay? To move outside means you will need a team to research other markets and deals in other markets, and then you will need a management company in that market. Again, I'm not a speculator. I'm an investor, and I'll go wherever a good deal lies. Number 9. Not knowing the market. You have to know your market. You can't randomly just jump to Indianapolis, right? I got a buddy in L.A. right now. He's like, I'm looking for 8 and 9 caps right now. I said, really, dude? Where in the Midwest are you going? Indianapolis. So you ever been to Indianapolis? No. How are you going to do that? You got to know your market. You got to know everything about your market. You need to know everything. Every sale, every comp, every rental. You need to know properties that are under-rented. You need to know properties that are over-leveraged. You need to know owners in the market that are tired. You need to know the owners in the market that are new. You need to know who's going to buy your property in 3 to 5 years. You need to know what property sold in the last cycle, what sold, what traded, what didn't trade, and what it traded for. You need to know the vacancy in the market, the expenses in the market, insurance, utilities, management fees. They change all over the country. You need to know the cost to turn, how long it takes to turn, the cost to advertise, what ads work. Does Facebook even work in this market? You need to know foot traffic, closing ratios, trailing 12 months, 9, 6, 3, and you need to know last month. And what I'd really like to know is what happened in the worst year of the worst years of operation. And then you need to know and have relationships with the top 3 brokers in that city, and I left this out. You need to know a lender that will help you. Look, I'm not trying to scare you here. I'm trying to prepare you here. There's so many courses out there suggesting that real estate's easy and you're going to do it with no money down and no debt and no loan and no credit and everything's going to be fine. It's bullshit. This is work. This is big boy stuff here, okay? This is big girl stuff. Come on, man. Quit thinking it's going to be easy, right? Santa Claus ain't real. Neither is the Easter Bunny. I hope my kids don't see this. The Tooth Fairy's bullshit. Buying real assets that produce cash and will be worth more money in the future is not going to be done with no money down and no debt and no research. There's a number of tools out there you need to invest in. Okay, there's a product. This is just one of many. Real Capital Analytics gives you selling and financing history of the property. You might check out Axiometrics, okay, or CoStar. These are very expensive software programs that provide property details, rent comparables, and sales histories. Some of these programs cost $20,000. I think I pay $17,000 a year just for the Florida marketplace. If I wanted the whole country, it'd probably be $80,000. LoopNet is free, and it's basically the place you go when you're an amateur. Loopsters, we call them. But it can be a great source to find one thing, and it's not real estate, but it is real estate brokers. And real estate brokers know everything. The top brokers don't typically list their properties on LoopNet because they don't want the loopsters calling. They don't want the punks, the amateurs, the starters calling with dumbass questions. When you call a broker, by the way, and you see something on LoopNet, don't even tell them. Don't even mention the L word. Just drop it out. You'll lose credibility. Just say, hey, I know you got this listing. I forget where I saw it, but I heard you're the broker. Don't mention LoopNet. Number 10. Financing. You need financing. You need debt. You need financing arms. You need banks that will provide you with great terms and, more importantly, the confidence that you can get a deal closed. Buying apartments without using debt would be like, I don't know, it'd be like doing Halloween without a mask. Okay? It'd be like playing baseball without a bat. It'd be like going to a gunfight without a gun. If it wasn't for the debt, I couldn't do the big deals and I couldn't max out my returns. On my first deal, I had to go to 3 lenders. It felt like 8. It felt like, it's the most painful thing I've ever done in my life. I went to 3 lenders. The first 2 guys says, absolutely no, we would never do this deal. I took the no's personally. Only to find out later that the 2 banks that I went to, told me, no, we don't like that deal, and we don't like that area, and we don't like this. Dude, those 2 banks don't even lend money on apartments. I didn't know that till later. They weren't saying, no, we don't do apartment loans, because the bank will never say that. They said, no, we don't like it because, rather than we don't like it because we don't lend money on apartment deals, okay? So, look, it gives you, the banks are always going to give you some lame reason when they don't want to do a deal, why they won't do a deal. But the banks almost never say, hey, we're not lending on apartments at this time. Neither one of these guys did. They give you some lame BS reason why they don't want to do the deal. Typically, they'll rip your deal apart or your experience. The building that I live in, for instance, right now. The building that I own right here, the bank gave me a loan on the deal. But the bank wouldn't give me a loan on an apartment deal. Where I live, I rent there, but my company owns the property. The bank gave me a 100% loan if my LLC owned it and I rented it. 100% loan, not a 97% loan. I'm the renter, the company owns it, but that bank would not give me a loan to buy an apartment deal. Okay? See, different banks do different things. I have a bank that wanted to beg me to lend me money on my jet after I bought my jet and paid cash. Beg me, please let us give you some money. But they wouldn't lend me money on apartments. Stupid. $50 million jet. Grant, we'd like to give you $40 million worth of debt on a plane that doesn't produce cash flow. Insane in the membrane. Understanding the debt component is vital, though, to your deal making. That means you got to know who's the lender in your market, who loves multifamily, who likes apartment, what size, what type, what quality, okay? As this will provide you with the confidence when you go to a seller that you can provide and be there in the close. I've been borrowing money and creating relationships with the biggest apartment lenders in the world for 30 years. In 30 years, I have never missed a payment. I've never, ever walked away from a loan. I have never filed bankruptcy. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, life insurance companies, banks, national, regional, I'm talking all the big players, the Wells, the Bank of Americas, the Citibanks, the City Nationals, the Citigos, the City Wawas, okay? All of them. I've either done business with them or they know me. They're partners with me in helping me make my deal work. The lender, by the way, is not an adversary. They're not the devil. They're your partner. And in the early stages, in the early innings of real estate investing, I thought the bank was against me. They're not. They're your friend. I borrowed some, I don't know, $500 or $600 million from lenders, all of which at some point in the future is being paid down by the operations of the apartments. And in many cases, the debt I use on the deal can be worth more than the deal itself. Yeah, I said it. In many cases, the debt I put on a deal can be worth more than the deal itself. I'll show you what I mean right here, okay? Oh, the magic board's been right here the whole time, huh? Nice and lazy, okay? I'm doing a deal right now for 4.3% interest only for 5 years and 10 years of debt, okay? I believe the money on this deal, by the way. What I might do is put the debt on the deal, new debt on the deal, and then I might go to the market and actually sell this deal with the debt. Because if in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or a year, let's say the interest rates grow up, this could happen, not sure that it will, and let's say the interest rates are 5% going forward, somebody would like to buy my property with this loan. Why? Because I can sell a loan with 4.3% interest in an environment where the interest rates are more than that. And this buyer, new buyer, would pay me a premium for my debt, not just for my property. Number 11, not buying through all cycles. You got to play this game, the real estate game. You can't buy at the bottom only. You can't time this only. You must be willing and able to buy at the bottom, the middle, and yes, even at the top. As long as you have enough cash flow, the property will make a new top. As long as you're in the right market, as long as you have cash flow to carry through economic cycles. So why not just wait, Grant? Why not just wait and buy at the bottom? I hear this all the time. If you aren't buying through all the cycles, you won't buy in any of the cycles. So why not just wait until the bottom? Let's just wait until the freaking world goes to hell. Harry Dent. Oh, the whole world's going to fall apart, man. Buy in the future when it's all going to hell. I hear this all the time. You guys aren't buying anything. You buy through all the cycles or you're not a buyer. You won't buy any of the cycles if you can't buy at the top, in the middle, at the bottom. By the way, what does it matter? You're not going to get rid of it tomorrow anyway. And you're going to get cash flow. The brokers won't know you, by the way, if you don't look now. How are you going to have a relationship with the two brokers when you weren't there for them when there was blood in the streets? I'm feeling complete. See, when the market's bad, the seller and the broker become even more concerned about your ability to close. The highest price does not, at that time, get the best deals in the bad markets. Trust and confidence to close get the deals. Listen to what I'm saying. The highest price typically does not get the best deals in bad markets. Trust and confidence to close will get the best deals in bad markets. Whoever has the most confidence in you or the other person to close gets the great deals. If they don't know you, they definitely won't close with you. In summary, buy apartments. Don't go small. Don't buy junk. Buy the best product in the marketplace. Don't over leverage. Make sure you have cash flow. And take care of your property and your tenants. When you find the deal, move fast.